Hello, beautiful people. Today is day 8, and I have some great, beautiful, wonderful news. I finished A Course in Miracles, at least the text part. So technically now I've read the whole book, but I'm doing the 365 days of meditation lessons, the textbook they call it again. The workbook, I mean. So I finished the text, which is most of it. Amazing. I finished it yesterday and had such an awakening. It was like, the concept of when you're doing a Rubik's Cube and it doesn't look like it's coming together, or maybe a puzzle, and all of a sudden those last few pieces come into place and boom, understanding. So I definitely had an awakening, a period of just understanding so much. Is beautiful. I felt, and I still do, reborn. Like I'm not myself. Everything is different. It's a miracle. It's the grace of God. It's grace. And that's what we all want, right? And that's what this wellness journey is about. So I'm counting this journey as success. And the more you live in this consistently and constantly, the more you find peace in your life. We're in learning, right? Because it is a journey. And so I've just got up on another stair rung, like stair steps. So I've just come to another step, and I know I'm gonna have to sit here for a while and really practice, soak it in, see, apply all these things to my life, and then continue to ascend. So hold on, I had a little technical difficulty, but I'm going to fold this in as an example. I have so much to say. So day 8, we're going to sort of put it all together. And this may be day 9 and 10 too, who knows? What we're trying to do here is have inner peace, is to come to that place where nothing can bother us, which is where spirit is. Our higher self knows how to do that. We have to unlearn what we've learned. So what has happened, where the world has brought us, is it's conditioned us and given us these ideals and a belief system. So if you grew up white or privileged, you may have a certain view of things. If you grew up middle class, you may have a certain view of people who live in the ghettos, the hoods, in certain place, like money is your thing. And it happens in so many ways. There's a thing called even just colorism. Even if you are of color, black or brown, if you're light skinned this, if you're dark skinned that, people are always looking for ways to separate. And the only reason people do that is to make themselves feel better. But in the midst of separating, in the midst of participating in a world that thinks we're all separate from one another instead of alike one another, is that there's also going to always be someone in that ecosystem that's going to think that they're better than you. And that is going to cause you pain. So you're participating in your own undoing. So we're talking about changing your belief system, understanding how the world, how spirit and the power and unity principle to get to happiness really works, the spiritual technology of well-being, remarkable wellness, so that you won't use that technology anymore. You have to, how do you see that we're all one and all the same? And that's what we're doing here. And when you do these things that we've been talking about, these tools of the 7 intentions, those are practical tools here in this realm that will help you dealing with people and having you have times of contemplation and spending with God, so that you can then receive what God's trying to tell you, or you can start to understand the messages of the real ecosystem that he would have us deal in. That's way bigger than this physical manifestation. It's like a world around this world with levels, and we're just stuck here in the center, in the core, and we want to ascend and be the light, and just we want to understand how these bigger ecosystems work, because that is where our peace is. So just like the biggest thing you want to unlearn, you want to know that everything is for a reason, so you don't have to stress over it. So I said, I'm going to bring that in. I had a little technical difficulty. I had just started, instead of stopping and starting over and saying, oh gosh, look, what is this? I can't get anything. Can't this stupid thing work? I'm like, oh no, that's part of the lesson, because all things are for a reason. So it helps. The lesson in itself, the problem is not a problem. Okay, let me just stop. It's early morning. I've had my meditation. I went and got a tea. You know, I'm in my favorite room, because I wanted to make sure that I'm in the spirit, and the spirit is actually delivering this message. I did my meditation earlier. I still sort of have a little raspy voice. So I got some, I put honey and lemon and ginger in this hot water and with a detox tea bag. So I'm set. So what I'm telling you is true, and I'm ready. And so it's going to be a lot of little pieces of what to unlearn what you've learned. You have to know a couple things. Forgiveness is the way. This is a healing process. What you give, you receive almost instantly, right? And so when you perceive a problem, you can also perceive a solution. I had a technical problem, but the solution was to use it for good. And when we live our life that way, there's no problems. And it is a practice. It doesn't all happen at once. I've been on this journey for a while, and there's been different stairs of awakeness, awareness that you get to. And then you say, oh, this is a good ride. And eventually, like, well, now you know how it works. It's such a great process. I talked to you about A Course in Miracles on second Saturday. So on Patreon, not really about what it's about, how it teaches as a system, what it does. If you are interested, because I refer to it a lot, you want to know about it again, go back to that second Saturday of January. I think it was the 16th or 17th. Go back to that talk that's on Patreon and find out more about it and see. So we're unlearning what this process that I've learned, and is really, I've realized that I've really soaked it in so much, is what I use, is you start to unlearn these things and then you learn a new way. So we want to recognize, be aware that the system that we're working under of separation, it won't ever work. So as long as you attach your value to man, into this humanness stuff, you will always have bouts of unhappiness that you may not get over quickly. I mean, everything ebbs and flows, but we want the shortest amount of time to our happiness. We don't want to linger in depression and sadness and anger. That's not what's meant for us. Understand that in the ecosystem that God has for us, it's peace, contentment, happiness, joy, love, gladness, goodness, all of that. So when you're not in that space, you're operating in a system of separation. God and spirit is a system of oneness, of inclusion, of we're the same. I'm the God in me, in this system, this higher system, is the God in you. And so I operate in this system where I'm not dealing with your body against my body, hand-to-hand combat. I call you ugly, you call me fat. We're not even dealing on the body level. Body doesn't even matter. The body is just a tool that allows me to communicate with you. It allows me to get to the grocery store. It allows me to see my parents. But it's not the system that it makes me think I'm separate from you because I have a body and you have a body. in the spirit of this powerful divine wisdom of all that is, universal laws like physics, that which God is, we're all one. There's a part of me, that spirit within me, that is the same, that is connected to you, just like the air between us, the space between us. There is no space. It's all a part of this God principle, this divine principle is called, actually, or divine intelligence. That part, which is bigger and is connected, is where we want to learn how to be happy. So we want to unlearn this and learn this. But you have to recognize that they both exist. We call this, in the higher consciousness community, we call the world and everything sort of an illusion, because we think we're separate. Okay, let's not play the word games. Let's call it real with a small r. But what's really real, what's really powerful, the reality of God is bigger, and we're connected. Okay, how do you learn that? You learn it through spending time with God, through self-introspection, through practice. How do you access this place that you can't touch with your body? How do you stop focusing on your smallness, the little self, and focus on the big self, the self that when we talk self-care, the capital S, the God that's within you? How? I have one friend who always says, but how? These are all answers. The answers are in the doing. I can explain, just like a teacher with a chalkboard, as well as possible, and you will get it as you do it. So I'm a guide, a teacher. I open up the door. The how happens when you do it. I can't tell you a how that then suddenly makes you feel better. You have to apply that how in your life and in your situation. And then you're like, so again, it's immediate, the gift and the receipt. I gift you a guidepost of awareness, but it's not me who's doing it. It's you who receives it and then takes it and uses it, and then it's manifest. So that's a very small distinction, but it's incumbent upon us, as we're taking this remarkable wellness journey for our inner peace. You get there faster by the doing and the application of these wisdoms to your life. And they're immediate. The more aware, the more quickly you ask and receive for yourself, apply it. The way you receive it is to apply it. That's the key. You just don't wait to receive it and then it's hanging around somewhere, like someone's at your front door and it's just waiting for you to open it. Well, it is sort of like that. But then as soon as you open it, you can let them stand down there for 5 minutes. But as soon as you open it, you got it. As soon as you use it, you got it. So you have to use it. So that's sort of key. So we're in a season, and I want to say, because now day 8, we're thick in of this 10-day journey. If you haven't had any awakening, you might not be doing the 7 intentions. So there's no way this does not work. It always works. That's why it's so amazing. At this point, ask, be totally, I want the peace of God. Which is funny because that was my lesson today. And yesterday from my book, the affirmation was, I have peace. Peace, that's no accident, right? So we're talking the language, higher language. It comes in these symbols, synchronicities. It's interwoven. This spirit world uses the concepts of this smaller world to help us learn. So it'll put peace in my conversation. It'll just come up. Yesterday's affirmation, today's 2 different books. You might have heard it. You've heard it if you're doing this already twice, and you'll find it other peace. I just want peace. Ask for peace. Be peace. Decide today, I'm going to settle into peace, that I'm going to play at a higher level today. And in the doing is the learning. I want to try this, in this spiritual system, this bigger system is 180 degrees apart from the world, from the way we do things in the world. So here's the problem we all have. This journey I went through. How am I supposed to not believe what I can feel, see, hear, and then believe this is something that I can't even, touch, taste, nothing? Well, you say you believe. Many of it say we're believers, believe in God, believe in good things happening, and believe. We know that we are there's a higher power. We know that there are forces in this universe that make things happen and hold together the way that they do, like gravity. We that you can't touch it, feel it, but you are impacted by it. In laws of living are governed around it. We know there's something bigger. So you first have to go into that. That's what you have to trust. And then activate it and use it, because that's the problem. In the separation world, we started not to trust God. We don't trust spirit because it seems separate than us, because we only trust in our bodies. You have to trust that your higher self is connected with God. God is always sending blessings, spiritual answers, attunement, guidance. It is only your sense of separateness that keeps you from getting it. This is the basic of everything. When you open yourself up to learning and operating in a higher way, when you open yourself, when you're willing and you ask, then you're doing it. But when you say it and you're not really open, you're not spending time connecting with God through all of these intentions, or any of these intentions, especially if you're not meditating or praying in a serious way. I mean, that's like the messenger. That's the phone. That's the call. If you're just saying, "Oh, Lord, help me." I mean, that works. Every time you say, "God, Lord," there's a vibrational frequency that's there. But God's always there, is what I'm saying. It's only your ability to receive. So if you're not serious, you say, "God, help me," but you're not really like connected with the God within you. If you're still wanting to be separate, you're talking about, "Help me beat this other person up." It has to be in love, because that's where the connection is. If you're making a prayer like that, there is a crazy light, like a plane, that is as bright as a shining star. That is crazy. Wow. I've never seen anything like that. There's a window right in front of me, and it's early morning, so it's sort of dark outside. And it was just like this crazy beacon light. That's God. That's that system of peace, 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 light upon you. I know it was some big plane or something, but I've never seen it. Anyway, I'm just making points, but it's happening as you become aware and experience. So you have to be willing. So ask God, I want the peace of God. And then stay in and meditate and be in that place of quiet and stillness, because the words he has for you they're not even words. The communication that comes through spirit is a download to you. Words are too small. If you go and say, seriously, seriously, what do I want? If all you've got is, God, I want a bigger house. He already knows that. He's already heard that. Now, how do you hear? How do you get the download of what he wants for you? It's too big. The only way you can do it is in stillness, and then going present moment at a time, present moment at a time, because it's too many chunks and pieces for our little minds of separateness to understand. But in the spirit, when we stay faithful and trust, then we can just trust day by day. Lord, order my steps one at a time, one at a time. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And that is what this system requires of us. And then you realize that time, by that one step, one holy instant at a time, it just stretches out into an eternity. And all is well. That's the platform. That's how I want to explain this now. So you're in a place where you've gotten all this, the tools, the seeds. And so now you need to start using them and seeing the reality of how the world works. You want to be in this happy place. It's a different realm. It's the spiritual realm will breathe. You sort of connect with your higher self, and then you use those concepts here in the lower world, and then you become a light worker, because people will be like, wow, she's always friendly, or she's never bothered by anything. How can I be like her? Her light's always shining. She's always smiling. He's always dependable. Like he never has a harsh word. I want to be like that. And then you go back, get all of your wisdom, and you come back and you make the world a better place. That's how I say, that's how I'm participating in the world. And that's how God means for all of us, with our own talents. So when you get this, you go about being and doing what it is. You're an artist, a musician, a teacher, a mathematician, or whatever it is. Then you can you can be that creative spirit here in this world of separateness and bring people together at the same time so they can enjoy your creativity. That's why artists are so amazing, because they get in a zone. Athletes, they go in and out of this all the time, and they bring joy through their work to people around. That's a great example, and you can do that. We all are charged to do that. That's why creativity, never competitiveness, creativity, love, those are the mechanisms that in and of themselves, when you've got it down, you bring joy to people. You write a song and you play it and everyone's like, oh my God, that feels so good. Because you went in there to your higher self, got what God has for you, and it became a light unto the world. You can do that in every way. I mean, there are artists and athletes and whomever are still unpleasant people when they're not doing their craft. It's a journey we're all on. But somehow they have an access to be able in the audience to be able to bring joy as part of their purpose. Okay, so that's important. That's foundational. And then forgiveness. And I mentioned that we did the talk because I talked a lot more about forgiveness in the Saturday talk about A Course in Miracles. Forgiveness is everything. Because if you see yourself as one, then there's nothing to forgive. The reason that we have to forgive here is because we feel we're separate, and either we're better than or lower than, or someone did us a disservice. And so now how we got to figure out how to forgive them. We're not talking about forgiveness in that individual person, like everything is okay. We're talking about forgiving the world for thinking it's separate. When you can see that we're all the same, and that there's just their lack of understanding or their conditioning that makes them think that they're better than, judgmental, unkind, or you are, then you'll see a total difference. So forgiveness is forgiving the world, forgiving yourself for thinking you're separate. You're going to need to sit with that. You stop thinking, again, this is a 180-degree difference. This is going to make you happy. This is going to get you there. This is going to take you to some next level stuff. You're not forgiving. Don't forgive anyone else but yourself. Forgive yourself for being mad or being angry or thinking you're better than, or thinking that why you think you're the only person that someone's never going to take advantage of in this world. You be mad at yourself that you keep putting your focus on petty people and small things, because petty people and small things going to be petty and small till they go through their own path. So let that, and don't stay there long, let that propel you into this higher place, because what you really want is happiness. You're choosing to stay mad by being unforgiving of yourself. Forgive yourself. Be like, you know what? I'm choosing not to be mad. That person thinks they took advantage of me. And in the worldly sense, they did. They were mean or abusive. They sure did in this sense. I'm going to go up here because I need to find some happiness and go in peace. I want the peace of God. God, I'm willing. I want the peace of God. How do I do that? You will get answers. And here's how some of the answers go, the best I can help you to see them. But again, it's only me giving you a pointer or a guide. You won't really get it until you apply it and do it in your life. That's the magic. Everything is two things that I've learned that came to me yesterday. That's why I wanted to do that this morning and after my meditation and really explain it the best I can. Everything that spirit has is good. Period. You have to trust that this world are just experiences to help get us to a path to see the goodness in everything. So that we're spending more time getting these downloads and hanging out here being happy. And then one day our body will go away. We call it death, and we'll just go hang out here all the time. In the meantime, we want our life to be more covered with this spirit that's always happy instead of thinking we're apart. So when you say, my body in this realm isn't connected to you, but I am connected to you. I am connected to you, and I want the best for you, the God in me. Because if we all have the best and we all have no grievances and no one thinks they're better than anyone else or worse than anyone, we wouldn't have hunger. We wouldn't have wars. It would be heaven here on earth. That's the goal. But it's us. It's us. So you have to know first, everything that happens has a meaning. It's never meant for your bad, even if it feels like it's bad for you. And I wanted to, I thought I had marked a page just because it was written so wonderfully. When I read it, I wanted to change it. I wanted to share it. This isn't it, but this is another good way to say it. Without judgment, all things are equally acceptable. For who could judge otherwise? If you didn't judge anything, everything would be acceptable. There's the miracle. Everything's fine. Judgment, non-judgment is the way. Another way of saying or looking at it is forgiveness. So those things free you in and of themselves for peace. And you have to practice working in the realm that we're talking about that makes everything so beautiful. Gosh, I'm not going to find it quickly. I must not have. I usually underline stuff. But the next big thing, though, is trust. As you go through this process and you have some downs and ups and you're like, am I, what? Why do I have this boss? Why is my family treating me this way? Why am I having these financial problems? When is it going to be over? I've been praying and all of this, and it's still not working. It's key to trust. So that's the first point being everything happens for your good. You're like, this can't be for my good. I'm broke. I'm sick. I got COVID. I'm mad. I got a horrible boss. I want to be in a relationship, or I want to get out of the relationship I'm in. Like we all got just everything. But all the problems are the same. There's something to be, there tools along the way to bring us to our higher selves. They're tools that want to jolt us out of this separate system that we focus on and make us realize, to bring us back to the higher principles. That's what they're used for. They're not there. This was my big learning yesterday too. I got it in such a way. I was just like, no. I mean, it really brought everything together. So hopefully it'll help you in some way, or it'll be a seed, and you'll see as you do it in each and everything. So now I'm going to be applying it to everything. And I already know, because I got all these other things too that's going to go with it. And I have peace. I want the peace of God. I want the peace of God. This is how you do it. So the value, if everything is happening for my good, the only reason, even if it's a sickness as we perceive it in our little body, is to bring me up here so I can understand how to heal. in the oneness, in the healing space. Then I'll get information or healing or herbs or whatever. The right person will come to me, because this is where everything actually happens, and then it just sort of rains down. But if we never go get the power of the good stuff, we stay stuck and depressed down here. So everything that's happening is for your good. So you got to trust that. And then you got to figure out, okay, how? The question is, okay, God, what am I to learn from this? These are questions to write down, or statements, questions. I'm not seeing this correctly then, because I'm seeing this in my separateness. What am I to learn from this? I want the peace of God. Do that in your meditation. Sit with that. See what comes. But really believe and trust. You're not seeing it correctly, because you're seeing it as a problem, and God is saying, no, it's just something for you to learn, so you can come back here more and more and more often. So as soon as you get this one, come on back. Let's hang out for a while. And that's the ebb and flow of life. So, okay, so everything is working for your good. God is for us. The universe is for us. All these other things, it's because we're living like, we've been taught that. But we got to unlearn it. We're living like little ants that all we can do is follow and build mounds of material things, when there's so much more for us. Okay. And the last thing I think for this is that these things, they're all for you. Okay, now how do I do this? You do what I said. You spend more time. You trust. But this point helped me a lot. The whole point of this is to show you that the things that you place value on are valueless. That in this place with God, he's saying, I'll take care of all of your needs and give you peace. And if that's what you want and you trust, then these daily things, these concepts, these, grievances and problems that are happening in your little life, they're to show you that they're not that value. Because if you come up here and spend some more time with me, you don't even need those things. Don't value things that are valueless. So you have to learn. That's why, and I had just remembered this the other day. And so that's why it's amazing, because it all came together at one time, like a wake up. That's why people often have to lose everything before they can gain anything. You have to lose. So it seems like a painful process. It is look, I've done it. I just gone through it. You have to lose everything. And it's painful in this world because we put value on it. You have to. It's like you have to keep bumping up against it to learn the lesson. And then when you learn it, then you're all good. And I'm like, well, how do you learn the lesson? I'm trying to learn the lesson. Like, okay, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything, but I'm still worried. I'm still whatever. Okay, come on back up here so I can show you another way. Oh, let me shoot you back down another miracle so you can understand. Oh, because you came up here and asked again. Let me shoot you down another miracle. It's going to keep you going. And then I'm like, okay, that worked a little while. Oh, I'm expecting the next big thing. Oh, yeah, this is great. God is good. Boom, something else happened. Oh. Does this stuff ever stick? Now I'm worried again. No, come on back up here and hang out with me. Those are lessons to be learned. And when you learn it, you won't have that problem anymore. You won't have that issue goes away. When you can more so stay in the spirit and let it sort of, you don't even have to go anywhere, because now it's just hovering over your life all the time. It's just hovering and surrounding you in goodness and greatness. So that when those things happen, you'll be like, la-di-da-di-da. No one can get to you. You won't play the victim. There's no problems. So I'm just going to put this all together, and I'm going to say this as plainly as I can. God is always, good things are always there for you. All things are lessons for us to be learned. You are your own problem. I mean that in a good way, because the solution and the problem always come at the same time. That's a good thing, because you have to stop thinking the world, people who are on the path, who want to find peace, we keep looking outside to other people. The good news is that they're not the problem. You can fix, because you can't do nothing about them. All you can do is bring more misery, which brings you more problems, which we don't want to do that. So if you take care of yourself and become the light, and look at these issues as, oh, they don't, it doesn't have any value. Well, how can I see that it doesn't have any value? It has some value to me. I'm attaching a value to it. Come on back up here, God. Get a little some wisdom. As soon as you can do that, as soon as you can forgive, not judge, stop seeing yourself as separate, so therefore you don't feel judged, then you're free. It is the answer in and of itself. That is the how. But that's the how. There's no other way. I can't, this is the most simple. It's the easiest way to say it in the examples. And I hope the hand motions were helpful, because, there's metaphors and all of that help us in this place to break through and get to. That's why we have mythology and stories to help us along the way. So I hope that this was helpful. You are the solution to any problem you have by changing your perception from the small you to the power of spirit and all that is, and using it to help you see that you're placing value on things that have no value in where you want to be in your life. And when you take that value away, you experience happiness and joy. And you do it one present moment at a time, and you stop blaming others for how you feel. It don't matter what they said. It don't matter how much money they stole. It don't matter how badly they treated you when you were married to them, how long they horribly imprisoned you when you were innocent. You will come to a place where, like, you're not saying that's okay, and you don't wish that on anyone. But that will no longer disturb my ability to have peace, because I know how there's a power. Because that by overcoming that, by forgiving that, by forgiving the world for the way it is, I have peace. And that's all I actually want. So me holding on to you taking advantage of me, I lose. You are your own problem, and you are your own solution. Stop giving it to other people. That is the richness of it. And you use the 7 intentions to bolster this understanding. It puts you in places. It puts you in contact. It puts you in a way of knowing day by day to get there faster. So thank you for taking this journey with me. We have a few more days we'll cover. You've got all the intentions. We'll go over them again tomorrow, and a few other things about synchronicities and all that to sort of put all this goodness together. I would love to hear from you. So please send me some notes about anything that's going on with you or realizations. Okay? Love and light. So happy.